Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Valerie Wilson and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable 12, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you're enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or by volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at NACTV at wcgwave.ca. So today is volume 125, number 25, Friday, January the 15th, 2021, the Nipawin Banner and Press. So we got a front page story right out of a national park. Is there a problem, officer? A moose decides to take a Sunday stroll through Nipawin by Aaron Devereaux, Nipawin Banner Press. There's no other way to explain it. There was a moose on the loose in Nipawin. The massive animal recently decided to take a stroll downtown on Sunday, January the 10th. I should say through town. The 2 or 3-year-old female is believed to be the same moose seen recently walking through the Riverside Cemetery. The animal then ventured further into town, ultimately ending up around the corner of Tupper Avenue and Elizabeth Street. Manitoba Conservation officials and members of the Spruce Plains RCMP partnered to safely escort the animal out of town, out of Nipawin. The moose must have liked our quaint little community. However, as she wandered back into town the next day, as of Tuesday, January the 12th, the moose remains loose in and around Nipawin. Probably a smarter moose than we know because it's safe in town. Otherwise, she might end up in somebody's freezer. Stray moose are not to be messed with, continued from page 1. The RCMP released a statement via social media on Monday, January 11th, regarding the situation. They advised Nipawin residents under no circumstances to attempt to feed or approach the moose in any capacity. The statement also noted that while it certainly is neat to see a moose up close, it is important for an individual's personal safety and the safety of the animal to remain at least 100 meters away. As for the wrangling of the animal, the town of Nipawin provided an update Monday, January 11th, indicating that the RCMP was continuing to work with Manitoba Conservation to escort the moose safely away from town. It was anticipated that would be done by Wednesday, January the 13th. A new update on the progress was not available for the Nipawin Banner Press publication deadline. A good-looking moose. I saw a moose a couple of years ago. There was 2 of them in Kozak's gravel pit. So we have some COVID-19 updates. The province expands the bridge grant to new businesses. The Manitoba government has expanded the eligibility of its bridge grant program. Premier Brian Pallister announced on Tuesday, January the 12th, that eligibility has been extended to the following businesses: hotels, resorts and lodges, travel agencies, janitorial services, licensed passenger transportation services. The bridge grant was first announced in November to provide $5,000 upfront to businesses, not-for-profits, and charities directly impacted by the pandemic response. A program expansion has announced on December the 8th to support home-based businesses directly impacted by the health orders. The Manitoba government then committed to providing an equal second payment if public health orders remain in place past January 1st, 2021. Those payments were made between January the 8th and January the 10th. COVID-19 fines, January the 4th to January the 10th. A total of 249 warnings and 48 tickets were issued for the week of January 4th to January the 10th, including 33 $1,296 tickets to individuals for various offenses and 8 tickets to individuals for failure to wear a mask at an indoor public place. Officials noted that 22 of the 33 $1,296 ticket issued last week were in relation to gatherings in private residence that were reported through the COVID tip line. Manitobans are urged to continue reporting compliance and enforcement issues. Since enforcement efforts began in April of 2020, a total of 2,211 warnings and 720 tickets have been issued, resulting in more than $1 million in fines to businesses and individuals. Active COVID-19 case counts. Over the course of a recent 7-day period from Thursday, January 7th to Wednesday, January 13th, there have been 154 new COVID cases reported within the Prairie Mountain Health Region. The total cases in Prairie Mountain since March are 1,749, 1,496 recovered, and 211 currently active. There have been 42 deaths in the region. Brandon has had the most active cases in the region with 68, while in Whitemud, which encompasses Nipawin and surrounding community, has had an active count of 4, 2 more than the previous week. The total number of covered cases in Whitemud is 89. The North region currently has the most active COVID cases with 1,184, and Winnipeg current cases are 967. Travel and entertainment. I'm not sure how this is travel and entertainment, but it has got Neepawa area resident seniors receive hugs for the holidays. By Kira Patterson, Neepawa Banner Press. Some seniors in the Neepawa area received a pleasant surprise this holiday season. Home Assistance Neepawa District, the HAND, and the Neepawa Kin Club joined forces this winter to create their Hugs for the Holidays project to help combat loneliness and isolation in the local senior population. In November, the two organizations put out a call for nominations of seniors people think could use some Christmas cheer. Once nominations came in, they put out mittens with gift suggestions and some basic information on the anonymous seniors at businesses within the community. And people could pick up a mitten, purchase a suggested gift, and drop it off with a hand or a kin club to deliver closer to Christmas. The number of gifts donated was amazing, expressed Jeannie Barnaby, hand coordinator. Over 140 seniors received bags. Not only did members of the community purchase gifts for the project, but the Tangled Threads Quilt Guild also pitched in, sewing nearly 100 bags to be used to pack the gifts into. Amanda Nightingale of the Nipawin Kin Club noted that 54 mittens were picked up by community members to purchase gifts, with the remaining 86 gift bags being filled thanks to a grant from the Emergency Community Support Fund through the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation. The gift packages were put together by volunteers on December the 21st and delivered to 140 recipients between then and Christmas Eve. The calls I had at work from recipients were so heartwarming, said Barnaby. One lady told me it was such a surprise to get the gifts, one of the loveliest things that she has ever received in her life, and how helpful all the gifts would be. Another lady said that the gift bag seemed bottomless, and though all the events that went on in her life this year, it was so kind to be remembered and such a surprise. And there are pictures of the Amanda Nightingale, Joy and Violetti Jeffrey, Denny Phillips, who helped pack and distribute the holiday gift bags to seniors in the area. Clinton Jeffrey and Jeannie Barnaby also helped, but are not in the picture. Then there's the Neepawa Access Channel upcoming shows, and it's lengthy, and I do believe it covers the full week starting Monday, January the 18th. All programs are repeated 12 hours after the listed time during the night. So if you got your days and nights mixed up, you can watch TV all night. Now we have the perspectives. Manitoba agriculture is a shadow of it once was. Right in the center by Ken Waddell. When word came down last week that the province of Manitoba was closing 20 Manitoba Agricultural Service Corporations, MASC offices across the province, it came as a bit of a jolt. MASC offices were formed a number of years ago when Manitoba Agricultural Credit Corporation and Manitoba Crop Insurance were combined. This latest move from Manitoba Agricultural is part of a 25-year shrinking of ag services by the province. I guess we will see if anyone agrees, but it is my experienced opinion that Manitoba has a definite problem with its ever-shrinking ag department. Agriculture, along with all of the related businesses and food production, processing, and export, is a huge part of Manitoba economy. The province, through several different governments and 2 different political parties, has basically killed off this once strong Manitoba Agricultural Department. About $370 million, or 2% of the Manitoba government budget, is spent on agriculture. That seems out of proportion with how important agriculture is to Manitoba. Let me give you a bit of history. Back in the 1950s, the Manitoba Department of Agriculture had about 40 offices in Manitoba. Commonly known as the Ag Office or Ag Rep Office, they were considered an important part of a district or region. There were offices in places like Carman, Portage la Prairie, Nipawin, St. Rose, Shoal Lake, and many other locations. Most were staffed by an ag rep, a person who had a degree in agriculture or possibly a master's degree, and in some places like Nipawin there was an assistant ag rep and there was always a secretary. There was also a home economist who might be headquartered in one town but would serve 2 or 3 ag rep districts. The situation remained pretty much unchanged into the 70s and 80s. In 1971, as a recent graduate of the University of Manitoba Ag degree, I came to Nipawin to work as an assistant ag rep under the guidance of Alan Nebbs. 2 years later, I was transferred to Gladstone to start up a new office. Ag offices were responsible for many things, and not the least of which was the administration and teaching and guidance of the 4-H program. Most towns and even many country schools had 1 or more 4-H clubs. Ag offices were responsible to administer all MDA programs and many others as well. They set up farm accounting, farm management courses, and welding courses. They provided advice and written material on every aspect of farming, including crop production, livestock, and pasture management, along with farm machinery and engineering advice. If the government had a rural-based program, the Ag Office administered it. You could order grass seed, shelter belt trees, and in short, the Ag Office was a rural hub of activity and information. Those functions have been mostly killed off, and much of the advice section has been taken over by the agronomy industry, and that has been a good thing for the most part. However, there is still one major problem with the agronomy-based model, that is, every last person in the industry has a product to sell. That can be problematic. The ag rep gave out advice knowing full well that the advice handed out was not attached to sales in any way. Over the years, ag reps have been phased out, and so were home economists, assistant ag reps, and secretaries. Some would rightly claim that the loss of the secretary was the biggest loss. An ag office that had a good secretary was a wonderful thing, as they were a huge help and source of encouragement. From a newspaper point of view, ag reps and home ex actually wrote columns that had good information in them. If a newspaper, radio, or TV station wanted information, all they had to do was call the ag office and get an interview. Oh no, not now. If you want to talk to any government agency now, you have to get an interview arranged by a central person in the provincial communications. The point is that governments have slowly choked off a part of agriculture and its potential for growth by abandoning rural people, farmers, and perhaps most of all, rural youth. Some would argue that, oh well, we have the internet and we can find all that stuff out online. Yeah, well, how's that working for us all now? Would it not be better to have trusted, local, unbiased information to assist the growth of our most important industry, agriculture? I think so, but as has become the pattern of governments, nobody is listening. Homebodies, creations of the grandchildren. Cleaning the upper shelf of the closet in my office, I once again opened a turquoise binder, the remnants of creative endeavors of my grandchildren in their early years. I thought it may be time to discard the folder, but as I sat and reviewed their works and my memories, the item in its entirety went back on the shelf. In my own defense, the stack of scrapbooks from the royal visits of the 50s and early 60s and the scrapbook of my early attempts at art, school assignments, and all did not make the cut. Moved that stack with me the last 4 times. Treasure 1, a hand-printed story, so the grammar and spelling are as written. The Dwarf Who Wanted to Change, Chapter 1. A long time ago there lived a dwarf, not that big, about 3 feet. He wore a brown hat, brown shirt, and even brown shoes. He wore green pants that his mother had made him, and when he was just a wee little lad. His favorite animal is a lizard. He has one, her name is Liz. He really liked wizards, mermaids, and even humans, which he never saw one before. He carried a pole with a red crystal. Some days were good, some were bad, and some days were that he felt he was too old. His friends didn't think so, but he did. Someday he said he would like to change his friends. He'd like to change. His friends said that they would. You said, what would you be? He said, I want to be a wizard. A wizard, yes. He even sang on his way home. This is the song he sang. I want to be a wizard. I want to be a wizard. I really want to be a wizard. I will be. Insert hand-drawn picture of dwarf, aptly titled The Dwarf. And he sang that all the way home. I love that story, no matter which grandchild crafted it. As I read and reread it, I see the spelling mistakes, the grammar errors, and the dreams. I am thankful that I was not present at its creation, carefully pointing out the mistakes and cramping the flow of story. I also remember Ed drawing me aside and mentioning carefully that if I continued to correct our children's grammar when they were telling me something, they would stop sharing. I stopped correcting, for I wished to hear their hearts. Within the binder are pages from coloring books, handcrafted cards, random drawings, and more stories. There was a secret club, oh, I want in on that, and one page has a simple notation. We're on our way to give Rita her biggest dream. Ho, ho, ho. Now, I wonder what my dream was back in the 1990s and early 2000s. My heart warms that the young girls knew that I had a dream, and they wished to fulfill it. Carefully colored pictures of Mickey and Minnie, Mouse and Madeline, self-portraits. As I sift and sort, I relive those days of the busy household. Kids of all ages filling the big old house and loving it. And us, and it is good. Tearing Down Walls by Neil Stroshine, yours faithfully. It's November the 8th, 1989, and we are standing near the famous wall that since 1961 has divided Berlin, Germany in half, separating residents on their eastern side from their families and friends who live in the west. But today, as we stand near the wall, we sense that we are about to witness an event that will change our city and our lives forever. Berlin had been a divided city since the end of World War II. The eastern half of the city was controlled by the German Democratic Republic, the communist East Germany, while the western side was divided into 3 parts, American, British, and French. The entire city was 100 miles inside East Germany. A narrow road and rail corridor provided the only access for people from West Germany wishing to visit West Berlin. The wall, according to East German government, had been built to keep Western ideas from getting into and undermining the goals of the GDR. But that wasn't the truth. The real purpose of the wall was to keep East Germans from escaping to West Berlin and defecting to West Germany, something 3.5 million had done prior to 1961. But this was 1989, and for the residents of East Berlin, 28 years of separation from their loved ones was enough. They wanted unrestricted access to the West Berlin, something their government had promised to give them. And on this day, they got their wish. Openings were made in the wall, and hundreds of Berliners were able to visit with family and friends they hadn't seen for almost 3 decades. Those who stood at the Berlin Wall that day weren't revolutionaries. They had no plans to voluntarily overthrow their government. All they wanted was to reunite people who were separated by a physical and ideological barrier. They believed that if given the chance, they could sit together, talk with each other, and work out their differences and live in peace. But for that to happen, the wall had to come down, and the people had to be given the chance to do what, up to this point, their leaders had been reluctant to do. Can that happen today in our communities and in our countries and in our world? I believe it can. 2,000 years ago, a child was born in the little town of Bethlehem, just a few miles from the city of Jerusalem. Years before his birth, Israel's prophet Isaiah gave him these names: Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace. This child, whom we know as Jesus Christ our Lord, was no ordinary child. He was God revealed in human form. He came to this earth and lived an upright life among us. His friend Simon Peter said of him, "He committed no sin, nor was any deceit found in his mouth." But after a mere 33.5 years on this earth, he was arrested, tried, convicted, and put to death for crimes he had not committed. And as he was dying, he took it upon himself, your sins and mine. He paid the wages of sin for all humanity. 3 days later, he rose from the dead, and today, by his Spirit, he lives in the hearts of all who put their faith in him. Thanks to our faith, we have peace, with God. And with the help of God's Spirit, we can break down the walls of racism, prejudice, bias, and hate that divide our society and help build a peaceful world for all people. Observation by Addie Oberlin. This past Christmas, I received a book called Then Sings My Soul by Robert J. Morgan. There are 52 hymns that inspire prayer in a prayer journal. When I read through a few of the stories that were written because of the situation the author was in, I was astonished to read about some of the tragedies and hardships these writers had gone through before writing some of the most well-known hymns. During this time of isolation, many of us have hardships, disappointments, and terrible experiences to endure. But like the writers of many of our hymns, we need to seek Jesus, commit all our sorrows and pain to him. He is there waiting for us to come and lean on him. He will give us rest and tranquility we need. Jesus tells us in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you who are burdened and weary, and I will give you rest." David tells us in Psalm 22:26 that those who seek the Lord will praise him. Let us praise him this week with singing and reading some of those beautiful hymns. We have a thumbs up and thumbs down column. We have a thumbs up to Hugs for the Holidays, the Neepawa Kin Club, and Hand for the surprise bag of goodies that I received, and also the Quilt Guild, businesses and individuals for their donations. Evelyn McConnell, Neepawa, Manitoba. We have a thumbs down. Many thumbs down to Neepawa's side streets. Hopefully they will be cleared a little better before the freeze sets in. By Ann Nielsen, Neepawa, Manitoba. We have a thumbs up to Muriel Gammy and Pastor Vlad for the good work that they are doing for the town of Neepawa. Lenda, Jerome, and Renee Yochman, Neepawa, Manitoba. Thumbs up to all the school children and teachers that took the time to write letters, cards, pictures, etc. for the seniors' care home residents. I received things from Brookdale, Eden, Neepawa, and Brandon schools. Your thoughtfulness and kindness is gratefully appreciated. Happy New Year to all. Gar Scott, Neepawa, Manitoba. And then we have a couple of letters to the editor. I might read you one. I'll come back to the other if I have time. Letters, Memory of Life on the Prairies by Don Buchanan, Qualicum Beach, BC. I just finished Googling the banner and had to try touching base. As a former Bernie type person, I had to tell how I enjoyed reading bits and pieces of the paper. I don't know how many people are there anymore, but I enjoyed my growing up period with the names common in the area such as Buchanan, Kilburn, Hawkins, the Brookdale types, Murray, Nicholson's, like the Big Old Bill. Or if you wanted to know what happened in town, call Cecil Pittman and others, such as Walter Greenhall and the Arcade or Peddler's Pool Room. The whole area looked forward to Saturday night in Neepawa for the arcade dance after there had been one on Friday night anywhere between McCreary, Arden, and Franklin. The huge baseball tournament every July or the open bonspiel in January, just January when it was always thawed. But the good part was the snake room in the basement where it was bring your own booze to discuss the game. Anyone over 5'8" had to stoop to get into the bench along the wall. That was at the curling rink. Qualicum Beach has been home for several decades, but still have great memories of my life on the prairies. And as a closing note, I don't think many of those prairie-type people who came west to enjoy the winter they couldn't have down south are not impressed it rains a bit out here. Don Buchanan. Oh, there's good news on this page. Newtown Logo is a no-go. Neepawa to maintain the existing branding. The top logo, the current branding word mark for the town of Neepawa, bottom logo, the proposed new word mark, which is similar in style to that of the Neepawa tourism brand. By Aaron Devereaux, the Neepawa Banner Press. Neepawa has decided to maintain its existing town logo. In December, municipal officials asked for public feedback on the potential change of the community's current brand to a logo and word mark similar to that used by the Neepawa tourism. The logo that would have been replaced features a dark yellow cornucopia and wavy blue line which symbolizes the White Mud River. That logo was adopted back in 2008 and is used on all town-operated vehicles at its facilities such as the swimming pool. A post was placed on the town Neepawa social media accounts in early December asking for input on the potential change. Councillor Maranka Kosenchuk noted that the most recent council meeting that the response received through that posting indicates that the majority of people preferred keeping the existing logo. We showed both logos, the current one and the new logo for tourism, and it was an overwhelming response to keep the current logo, said Kostenchuk. The majority of response indicated that there was a strong positive impression for the current usage of the cornucopia. The decision meant that the existing logo will be placed on the front of the municipal administration building and continue to be used on everything that is owned and operated by the town. The tourism logo, however, will still be used for its original intentions as part of an effort to attract visitors to the community. And then we have Out of Helens Kitchen by Helen Drysdale, Home Children in Canada. By popular request, I'm going to continue the history lessons with recipes. Before Christmas, I left off at the end of World War II, but for a few weeks we'll be going back in time. Today, the story of the home children will be told. In the 1800s, industrialized Britain found thousands of rural people moving to the cities, looking for work in the factories. The cities soon grew with overcrowded slums, lack of clean drinking water, poor sanitation, and rodent infestations. These appalling living conditions led to illness and death from such diseases as tuberculosis and cholera. There was no safety nets for the poor and starving at the time, as it was believed that poverty was the responsibility of its victims. When a parent died, the remaining parent and children left destitute. Churches and philanthropists started homes to care for the children under the auspices of such names as Bernardo Home, Salvation Army, Church of England, Waifs and Strays, Fairbridge Society. The homes soon filled up, and there were many more children in need of help. So the child migration scheme came about. In 1869, Maria Rye brought 68 children to Canada. The authorities believed that Canada could provide a better and healthier life, and lots of fresh air, no perceived class system, hard work, and healthy discipline would assure them a wholesome development. So, with or without parents' permission, the children were given little wooden trunks packed with clothes, toiletries, the Bible, the book Pilgrim's Progress, stationary instructions on how they should behave in their new homes, and on the ships they went. In 1888, a large farm, 8,960 acres, was opened in Russell, Manitoba, to train boys at farm work. The main house was capable of housing 100 boys, with offices, laundry, bathrooms, hospital, store, and large kitchen. It had pigs, cattle, horses, fowl, 20 acres of vegetable gardens, a dairy, and a creamery that served surrounding districts. Bernardo Homes were by far the largest organization sending children to Canada, with over 30,000 children sent here. While the idea of relocating the children was based on good intentions, its results were sometimes tragic. Some children experienced a happy life and were treated as part of the family, but there were many who lived a life of abuse and indentured slavery in their placements. They often were separated from siblings, experienced isolation and loneliness on farms, and carried with them the shame of being orphans or gutter children and the dregs of London. Many were not allowed to go to school as they were supposed to, and most had never been on a farm. They had no idea of harnessing horses, milking cows, seeding, harvesting, or haying, and all the hard work and long days that came with these jobs. There was meant to be supervision for the children in their placements, and for some this went well. For others, lack of funding and supervisors to do the work was not there, and many children went unchecked. Some children ran away to find themselves new places of work or to find their siblings that had come to Canada with them. By the 1930s, the demand for home children petered out, and by the 1940s, an end was put to children coming to work in Canada. Many of the boys enlisted in the Canadian military during World War I and II and were happy to get to England to see their families. As I read the home children's stories and listen to them talk on videos, with few exceptions, most did not regret their life in Canada despite their unfortunate childhoods. They loved Canada and the opportunities their new country provided. 10% of all Canadians were brought to be descendants, are thought to be descendants of the 100,000 home children that came to Canada. I'm going to read that one again. 10% of all Canadians are thought to be descendants of the 100,000 home children that came to Canada. In 2010, the Canadian government designated the year as Year of the British Home Child. Quick breads were often added to a meal to fill up those hard-working helpers. This bread can be made in a loaf pan or formed into a circle and baked in a pie plate or cookie sheet. It's called the oatmeal soda bread. If you've got your pen and paper out, I'll read you the instructions. You need 3 cups of flour, 1 1/4 cups of large flaked oatmeal, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 cup melted butter or oil, and 1 egg. You need 1/4 cup of liquid honey, 1 1/2 cups of buttermilk or milk with 1 teaspoon of vinegar, 2 tablespoons of large flaked oatmeal or 2 tablespoons seeds such as sunflower or sesame. You preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. You prepare a pan of choice. If using a loaf pan, grease a 9 by 5 inch loaf pan. You mix the dry ingredients in a bowl, make a well in the center, and in another bowl mix the butter, the eggs, the honey, the buttermilk together and add to the dry ingredients. Combine until moist. If it is too dry, add a wee bit more buttermilk. Pour into the loaf pan or on a floured surface, shape into an 8-inch round disc and cut across on the top. Brush the top with buttermilk and sprinkle the oatmeal or seeds over the top. Bake for 50 to 60 minutes or until golden brown. Serve warm. Well, might have to try that when I go home. We have some news from Carbury, North Cyprus, Langford. Here and there. Chris Unraw, the town of Carbury's new manager of parks, facilities, and sanitation. By Gladwin Scott, Neepawa Banner Press. Excerpts from the town of Carbury, December the 8th virtual meeting. Accepted the resignation of Andrew Shisley, manager of parks and recreation facilities and sanitation. Hired Chris Unraw as the new manager of parks, facilities, and sanitation. Accepted Exchange Groups of Winnipeg as a 2020 auditor. The town and RM now have 2 separate sets of staff members. The CAO was asked to tender apartment rentals for visiting doctors or other healthcare staff. Eric Forbes was granted $3,000 for each 2 properties, 34 and 36 Main Street, according to the Town of Carbury Heritage Grant Program. Chris Unraw is the new manager of parks, facilities, and sanitation, effective December the 7th. Unraw formerly spent 25 years as superintendent of golf courses in Boissevain and Carbury. He also was owner-operator of Unraw Developments. Chris and his wife, Debbie, a BMO employee, have 4 athletic children. They spent... Sorry. Oh, boy. They spent 8 years in Red Deer following their marriage in 2000, working and attending a turf management program, plus playing college basketball. Chris also played baseball with the Boissevain Centennials, who were inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2013 and more. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. As very sports-minded parents, they are involved in coaching. Chris has coached junior varsity boys basketball and bantam boys baseball teams. Last March, the junior varsity boys won their only game as host of the provincials over Toulon, when son Carson scored an incredible 55 points. Unraw's office is at the local recreation center and his telephone number is 834-6612. The Carbury Plains Cheer Board wants to thank those who donated monetarily and groceries for their hampers. Thanks to the schools for their never-ending toy supply and to the stores that allowed donation boxes. Thanks to their dedication, volunteers who were fewer this year due to COVID-19. Thanks also to the efforts of Debbie Steen, Service for Seniors, and Tricia Zander, Community Development Coordinator, who made it possible for many seniors to receive a bag of Christmas goodies. Cliff Cullen from Glenborough, Turtle Mountain MLA, who has served as Minister of Justice and Attorney General for the past 2 years, has been appointed Minister of Education. Team Canada was upset 2-0 by the United States in Edmonton in the gold medal game in the 2021 World Junior Hockey Championship, January the 5th. There was a local connection to Team Canada as their team captain, Bowen Byram, is a cousin to Jody Byram, who lives in Nipawin and is the executive assistant to our Agassiz MLA, Eileen Clark. Byram was selected as player of the game for Canada in the gold medal match. The star defenseman, who has been with the Vancouver Saints of the WHL, will report to the Colorado Avalanche for the upcoming NHL season. Byram was with Team Canada when they won the 2020 World Junior Championships. Congratulations, Bowen. In my opinion, that was quite a Donald Trump motivation armed insurrection on Capitol. This despicable narcissist believes, well, I guess it isn't an opinion. I'm not going to read the rest of that. Sorry, can't. Community profile Olivia Gesner by Gladwin Scott, Neepawa Banner Press. Olivia Gesner was a 2017 Carbury Collegiate graduate who received the Governor General's Medal and shared the Female Athlete of the Year award with Jesslyn Barron. She was the recipient of several math and science awards and was the class co-valedictorian with Ashley Malfate. Olivia was a member of the Principal's Honor Roll and is currently in her 4th year of a Bachelor of Science degree, majoring in genetics at the University of Manitoba. Classes are challenging online and will resume January 18th. Always participating in a variety of sports, Gesner enjoyed playing shortstop or catching for the Cougars fastball team. She was an outside hitter on the volleyball team and the point guard with the basketball squad. In badminton, Olivia teamed up with her cousin, Cameron McMillan, to win a Zone Girls double title. Her mother, Colleen Turner, was a positive influence by encouraging Olivia to always do her best. Following her Bachelor of Science graduation in May of 2022, she hopes to attain employment in the field of genetics, possibly as a counselor. And we have Looking Back over the Years by Casper Werhan. 1961, a unique calf was born at the Thompson farm near Arden, Manitoba. The 5th leg that grew out of the back of the calf on the farm of F.S. Thompson near Arden Ridge didn't serve any apparent useful purpose. However, it wasn't a hindrance either, and the young calf seemed to be perfectly normal and healthy in every other respect. The calf was born at the farm in 1961, and there's a picture of it. It's quite interesting. So we go back 110 years to January the 13th, 1911. Editor Belton of the Registrar took a trip to Winnipeg yesterday. 100 years ago, Friday, January the 14th, 1921, a lady speaker at the conventions of the United Farmers in Brandon declared that Manitoba's jail system is a waste of money, effort, and souls. Okay. Glen Cairn. Our new school was open on Monday, January the 10th, with 35 children present. Miss McIver was back and soon got the scholars in order and found the new school nice and warm. Mr. A. Schmidt, the contractor, is to be congratulated on the splendid work on the building. Everything is in good shape as he had the best of labor employed, which makes the building one of the best in the country. 90 years ago, January 13th, 1931. The proposed merger of the Northern Pacific and Great Northern Railways, which has been near completion several times during the past 30 years, has again been called off because shareholders cannot meet the terms defined by the Interstate Commerce Commission. One of the real old-timers of the McCreary District passed away last Friday, January 2nd, In the person of Mrs. John Wiggins Sr., Mr. and Mrs. Wiggins came to the district about 40 years ago, so were real pioneers. They stayed for a while near McCreary, then lived at Mackinac, returning again to settle at a homestead west of McCreary, and have been in the district ever since. Bitten by a horse on Monday morning, Mrs. Guy Deacon of Spring Hill is suffering from a lacerated ear in the Neepawa hospital. Her condition Monday afternoon was reported quite good. 80 years ago, Tuesday, January the 14th, 1941. More than 1,700 Canadian National Railway employees are now on active service with the Navy, Army, and Air Force. News from Egypt indicates Italian airmen stand in awe of the Royal Air Force, and prisoners say heavy bombers are the most terrifying weapons they have encountered. Plans to speed up training of men and boys for Canadian industry engaged in war work have been announced by Labour Minister McClarty. The objective for 1941 is to train 100,000 workers. British bombs on Berlin have come as a great psychological shock to the German home front. The RAF raids, as they continued week after week, have inflicted serious damage to German morale, though accomplishing little in the way of military destruction, states Edwin E. Hattrich, an American newspaperman who was in Germany from May until November of 1940. 70 years ago, Thursday, January the 18th, 1951. Imagination is as good as many voyages, and how much cheaper, George W. Curtis. You're right. That's what we've all got right now. Bernie. Tuesday, January 23rd is Alice Chalmers Day. Free show for farmers and families in the Legion Hall, Nipawin, 2 to 4 p.m. Door prizes. 60 years ago, Friday, January the 13th, 1961. A healthy young calf with 5 legs is being raised on the farm of F.S. Thompson at a mile east of the Arden Ridge on PTH number 4. Born on January the 5th, it appeared a week later to be normal in every aspect but the one, and was continuing to grow and develop as any normal, healthy, sturdy calf would do. Mr. Thompson reports that the first question most people ask is whether the freak is the result of inbreeding, but he assured the press that his would not be the case. His cow is part Hereford and part Shorthorn. The sire, a registered Hereford, is from southern Manitoba and no relation whatsoever to the dam. The extra limb is growing out of the calf's backbone right between the shoulder blades. Complete with an apparently normal knee joint, it hangs uselessly down over the beast's right shoulder. Another oddity about the extra leg is that it appears to have a double hoof, although Mr. Thompson said that the bone structure is normal for a single leg. The calf's fate is not certain yet, although its normal progress to date makes it likely that it will be raised in the regular fashion, possibly even sold eventually for beef, although the possibility of turning the animal into a sideshow attraction has also been suggested. It has also been suggested that the extra leg might be amputated. However, Mr. Thompson is a little doubtful about this because of its apparent connection with the spinal column. Mr. Thompson normally maintains a herd of about 35 to 40 cattle on his farm, and although many calves are born each year, this is the first time he's had one in the freaky variety. 50 years ago, Thursday, January 14th, 1971. From Eden. In spite of the cold weather, December the 27th, a good crowd turned out for the final farewell salute to 1970 at the Rosedale Park. The Skidoo races held at the top of the North Hill attracted 32 entries. Winners were Gordon Rutar of Russell, Lawrence Bradley of Arden, doubles R and Sandra Delaloy, I'm going to say that's R and Sandra Delaloy. Sperling boys 12 and under, Harold Minty of Onanol. The younger folks seemed to be having a pretty good time on their sleds and toboggans, while over at the kitchen, the ladies were very busy handing out hot dogs, tea, coffee, and hot chocolate milk. There has been no word so far of another winter picnic, but many of us, including myself, Robert Scott, Eden Associate for the Neepawa Press, will be a lot better prepared for such an event the next time. The park officials sold a lot of tickets on the last draw, but so far we have not heard of any winners. 40 years ago, January 15th, 1981. The Neepawa Town Council approved the purchase of a water tower Tuesday, January the 13th from ETS Towers of Hamilton, Ontario. Cost of the concrete and steel tower is expected to be $675,000, about $400,000 less than originally estimated. Construction could begin as early as April, and it is hoped the tower will be in service by late fall in 1981. It will be located about 300 yards west of the junction of Mill Street and Highway 5. 30 years ago, Tuesday, January 15th, 1991. On September 8th, 1990, Robert and Lily Walker celebrated their golden anniversary in activity area of the Yellowhead Manor. Robert and Lily were married on September 25th, 1940 in the United Church Manse in Nipawin. They resided in the Hummerston district north of Wellwood, where they farmed until 1956, when they moved to Nipawin. 20 years ago, January 15th, 2001, 9 western Manitoba communities, including Nipawin, will soon have access to digital cellular telephone service, and it hasn't improved since. Tell you that right now. So we have the Kinsmen Courts 2 and 1, assisted living for seniors, are looking for an executive director. So Nipawin Kinsmen Seniors Housing Incorporated is seeking an executive director. The executive director role is an exceptional opportunity for an energetic, motivated leader with operations management experience, preferably in a relevant sector such as retirement living or hospitality. You thrive in leading passionate teams to deliver a superior customer experience and would love to ensure our residents truly feel at home and enjoy a great day every day. The qualifications are: as the building's executive director, you are responsible for the day-to-day operations of the Kinsmen Courts 2 and 1 seniors residences, ensuring the provision of high-quality care and service, management, supervision, and leadership. Execution of the business strategies, budget, plans, programs, development and adherence to contracts and staffing for optimal operations, annual operating and capital budgets, and supporting marketing plans in the promotion of full occupancy of the buildings. The education experience: you must have a post-secondary diploma or degree in gerontology, hospitality, business, or related field, with a minimum of 5 years relevant progressive experience in the retirement or hospitality management. And you must demonstrate experience in leadership, interpersonal skills, and marketing finance. Your skills and abilities must be self-directed, accountable. You must be a problem solver with proven leadership skills. Demonstrate strong communication and interpersonal skills with the ability to exercise tact and diplomacy in dealing with board, resident, staff, and visitors. A detailed job description is available at kinsmencourts2.ca. Please respond with a resume and cover letter by mail to Box 1842 Nipawin, Manitoba R0J1HO, or by email to kinsmencourts2@yahoo.com by February the 28th, 2021. We thank all applicants for their interest. However, only those selected will be contacted for an interview. So we have a community is showing support for our local homegrown athlete. Dylan Neufeld, diagnosed with cancer, fundraisers being held to help, by Kira Patterson, Neepawa Banner Press. A Neepawa Rays football player has been facing an opponent off the field recently. Dylan Newfield, who played on the Neepawa Tigers football team in high school and was most recently signed with the Edmonton Huskies in the Canadian Junior Football League, was diagnosed with T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia, an aggressive and rarer form of cancer, on December 3rd, 2020. If you ask anyone that has known Dylan for years or just 5 minutes, they will tell you he is the nicest, friendliest, caring kid you'll meet, a great football player, someone younger athletes look up to, and much more, expressed Brandy Falk, a family friend of the Newfields. Falk explained that Newfield moved from Edmonton back to Neepawa in December to be with his family during this treatment. She noted that he's been undergoing chemotherapy in Winnipeg, and while he's been responding well to the treatment and is now an outpatient, the doctors recommended that he stay in Winnipeg for at least the next 4 months. Newfield's mom, Rhonda, has taken leave from work to stay in Winnipeg with him, and they are currently looking for an apartment to rent there. Friends of the family and community members have pulled together to help ease some of the financial burdens associated with this challenge. Falk is just one of many friends involved with organizing a number of fundraisers for Newfield and his family. To help the family out with unexpected financial strain, Amanda Martin and I have opened a benefit account for Dylan at Stride Credit Union for donations, and we are planning a few fundraisers to help out as well. Currently, we have 2 50-50 draws happening and a Funky Melons for Dylan fundraiser, and we will be currently working with our local promo time on creating some toques. Falk died their promo time on January 29th. The second 50-50 is underway, and that draw will be held February the 28th. Not only has the 50-50 gained traction, Falk noted that they also had pickup on the Funky Melons for Dylan fundraiser. People can collect donations or challenge their friends and family to donate and follow the trend and cut and shave or dye their hair or beards or whatever they like. The idea is to show Dylan some support and have some fun, she explained. While they have a handful of fundraisers running and in the works, Falk added that they have other ideas that will be used in coming months. We hope to keep raising funds for as long as the family needs, she said. The family is feeling blessed and forever grateful for all the support, generosity, and love that they have received this far, and wish to extend a huge thank you to all, everyone from near and far, Falk relied. Donations can be made to the Dylan Newfield Benefit Fund by e-transfer or in person at any Stride Credit Union branch. More information on the fundraisers, how to donate, and updated on Newfield's condition are being shared on their Facebook page, I Stand With Newf, as well as their Instagram account at I Stand With Newf. So I'm going to go back and just give one little, this is where I left off. Currently, we have 2 50-50 draws happening and a Funky Melons for Dylan fundraiser. And we are currently working with our local promo time on creating some toques, Falk stated. Our first 50-50 draw sold out really quick, and that draw will be held January 29th. And then they continue on with the second draw. So we'll go on now to sports. Dylan Birch signs with Nipawin. 17-year-old forward Dylan Birch has committed to play for Nipawin in the 2021-2022 MJHL season. And this is a submitted story, Nipawin Junior A Hockey Club. The Nipawin natives have announced the signing of forward Dylan Birch to a letter of intent for the 21-22 MJHL season. The 17-year-old was auto-protected player under MJHL Bantam draft rules, which allows each team to select 2 players from their minor hockey association prior to the draft. The native of Nipawin has played in 60 games for the Yellowhead Chiefs U18 team the last 2 seasons and has 14 goals, 15 assists to go along with 70 penalty minutes. I'm really excited to further my hockey career with the great organization and staff. The opportunity to play hockey in my hometown makes it more special, said Birch. 2 seconds here. The THHL cancels its regular season, by Aaron Devereaux. Any hope of an abridged regular season for the Tiger Hills Hockey League has now been quashed. The league has announced that due to the extension of the province's Code Red restrictions until at least January 22nd, the season has been officially cancelled. League President Brian Franklin said that it was simply not feasible for the league to have a competitive season within such a compressed period of time. He noted that even if the provincial restrictions were to be lifted January 22nd, there would still be at least a week, if not 2, before Hockey Manitoba would allow competitive games to resume. Franklin added that league and team representatives' first and foremost priority throughout this situation has been the safety of the players and fans. The Tiger Hills is the working man's league, and a lot of our players have young families and aging parents. Contact and spreading of COVID-19 is a major concern as well. There is no guarantee on the number of fans that would be allowed in the various arenas. Gate receipts are a major part of revenue for our teams. A lot of our arenas closed down by the end of March, so extending the season was not an option for all teams. To top it off, the vast majority of our players have been off ice for over 2 months, so getting in shape was also a concern, said Franklin. Via the league website, the Tiger Hills Hockey League thanked all its players, teams, facilities, and communities for their efforts in attempting to make this season happen. They also expressed optimism regarding a return to play for the 2021-22 season. We have Neepawa Hockey to receive support from the Bobcat BIRT Cup by Aaron Devereaux, Neepawa Banner Press staff. Neepawa's Minor Hockey Association and the Natives Junior A Hockey Club will be 2 of the beneficiaries of a major golf charity event set for this summer. Over the weekend, the Brandon University Athletics announced that its annual IG Wealth Management Bobcat BIRT Cup will take place on Friday, July the 9th at the Wheat City Golf Course in Brandon. The golf tournament, which has been operating since 2008, was founded by the Brandon University hockey alumni Scott Halliday. It has been hosted under the banner of Brandon University Athletics since 2018, and in recent years has served as a fundraiser for notable organizations across the Westman region. Along with the pair of Neepawa recipients, other organizations received support at this time include the Balder Daycare, the Glenborough Minor Hockey Sports Association, the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba, the Ashley Newfield Softball Complex in Brandon, Westman Wildcats U18 AAA Female Midget Hockey Club. Dennis Hunt, financial consultant with IG Wealth Management, noted via media release that IG was very proud of its association with the university and its effort to raise money for this collection of good causes. The diversity of the group that Brandon University is supporting is great, and it encompasses not only the Brandon area, but southwestern Manitoba. So I think it's great that we are supporting the area, noted Hunt. Support for the hockey rebrand. The Neepawa Junior A Hockey Club and Minor Hockey Association, the support has generated from the BRRT Cup, will assist in the planning rebranding. Last year, the Junior A Hockey Club announced that it would be discontinuing the use of the moniker Natives as part of its teen identity. A short time later, Neepawa Minor Hockey decided to follow suit. Neepawa Junior A Club head coach and general manager Ken Pearson said the transition is a huge endeavor, so this type of support is greatly appreciated. We have 12 teams in the Minor Hockey Association that will have to get new jerseys, and that ranges from the 4-year-olds to the 17-year-olds. So it's a big project, stated Pearson, paying it forward. Over the last few years, the BIRT Cup has expanded its efforts to support communities outside of Brandon. Brandon University Athlete Services and Events Coordinator Tyler Crayson noted that the banner and press that has been by design. Noted too that the IG Wealth Management Bobcat BIRT Cup has always been very supportive of the Brandon University Bobcat Scholarship Fund. But over the last few years, we've expanded our efforts to back more regional causes and organizations. We want to be able to show support to as many Westman communities as we can, and this is a way for us to pay it forward, Grayson said. In 2020, IG Wealth Management Bobcat BIRTH Cup was able to raise just over $47,000 in support of local groups. The format for the tournament is best ball, and the entry fee is $600 per foursome. The team registration form can be found at the website www.gobobcats.ca. And we have Spruce Plains RCMP report by Captain Jacob Stanton, Spruce Plains RCMP. During the week of January 4th to January 10th, Spruce Plains RCMP dealt with 41 police activities. January the 4th, RCMP received a call about a puppy that was left abandoned in a box. The puppy was rehomed shortly afterwards. Police responded to 2 business alarms, one in Minnedosa and one in Nipawin. Both were determined to be false. January 5th, RCMP responded to a barn fire in the municipality of Harrison Park. There were no animals inside the barn and there were no injuries. Police received a call from someone who came across items under a bridge in the RM of Minto O'Donnell that would suggest someone was living there. Police attended and did not locate anyone or any signs of recent activity. January the 6th, RCMP received a report of an unsafe driver in Nipawin. The suspect driver could not be located. Police responded to another report of an erratic driver in the RM of North Cypress, Langford. Patrols were made, but the vehicle could not be located. January the 7th, RCMP responded to a report of a person sleeping in the lobby of a rest stop in the RM of Minto O'Donnell. The person returned to the vehicle shortly after. Police conducted a COVID compliance check in the municipality of Westlake Gladstone. All persons were found to be compliant with regulations. January the 8th, RCMP were dispatched to a business in Gladstone where a person was causing a disturbance. Police attended and spoke with all parties, and the matter was resolved. Police received a missing person report in Minnedosa, who returned home shortly afterwards. Police responded to a report of a person at a business in Nipawin who was not complying with the public health orders. The suspect had left prior to police arrival. January 9th, RCMP conducted a well-being check on a person in Nipawin who was found to be fine with no cause for concern. Police received a complaint of persons not complying with public health orders at a residence in Nipawin. Police attended and did not find anyone to be uncompliant. January 10th. RCMP responded to a complaint of persons not complying with public health orders and possible impaired drivers at a residence in Rapid City. Police attended and did not find any evidence of non-compliance or impaired drivers. Police received a report of persons breaking and entering into vehicles in Minnedosa and reported of stolen fuel from a business in Rapid City. Both matters are still under investigation. Police received a call of a moose on the loose in Nipawin. The moose was guided back out of town safely. While some people found this amusing, the culprit's identity will remain anonymous at this time. RCMP conducted 17 traffic enforcement actions during the reported period. Public service announcement. If you have any information about these crimes or any other crimes, please contact your local RCMP office or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. And due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the Nipawin and Minnedosa RCMP detachments advise they will be limiting front counter services at the detachments until further notice. We request that you contact each detachment at 204-476-7340 Neepawa or 204-867-2916 Minnedosa to inquire about criminal record checks or to file a report. Leave a message if needed and it will be checked the following business day. Do not leave a message if you require immediate police assistance. You must dial 204-476-7338 Neepawa or 204-867-2751 Minnedosa or 911 to have a police officer respond to you promptly. Neepawa receives $76,000 for its 2020 recycling effort. Recycling revenue for the town of Neepawa appears to have remained relatively stable in 2020. During Town Council's most recent meeting, which was held on Tuesday, January the 5th, Chief Administrative Officer Colleen Sinishin provided an update on the number. Sinishin said that they received a letter from Multi-Materials Stewardship Manitoba informing them that they will receive $76,082.69 from the program. That amount is from 225 tons of recyclable local materials. Municipal communities across Manitoba receive revenue from the MMSM each year. The 2019 numbers for Neepawa are not available at the council meeting, but Sinishin said that amounts year over are stable. And this is by Aaron Devereaux, Neepawa Banner Press. Manager of Operations. Winter, for the most part, has been off to a relatively slow start due to the lack of major storms. Manager of Operations Denis Sagay said that has made for a relatively quiet period for snow clearing crews over the holiday period. Despite the relatively light amount of snow we receive, Sagay is reminding businesses that it is their responsibility to keep sidewalks clear in front of their buildings. The town does send its clearing machines out to do a singular pass, but they do ask for assistance in tidying things up. Homeowners are also reminded to not push their snow onto the streets when cleaning their driveways. With the amount of garbage being thrown out increasingly steady in 2020, garbage collection will now begin a bit earlier in the morning at 6 a.m. Residents are asked to have their carts out by 6 a.m. If that's too early, then they can place the bins out the night before. If the garbage is not picked up on its regular collection day, leave the cart out, as it will be picked up either that same day later or the following day. Other items to note. Discussions regarding the town of Neepawa's budget for the upcoming year are starting to ramp up. Councillor Daryl Gerard stated that the evaluation process is currently underway. The deadline for community grant application program has been extended by a month to January 31st. Applications can be picked up at the Town of Neepawa office or printed off the town website. The grants are distributed each year by the town to assist community organizations. The new notification system for residents of the town of Neepawa is now available online. Late last year, town officials announced the establishment of Neepawa Connect, a service that will provide updates via phone, email, or social media. It is also linked to the Canadian National Emergency Alert System. The sign-up link is available on the front page of the town's website. People are encouraged to please sign up to ensure access to the information portal. And we have a in memory to Claudette Jerome, 1964 to 2016. We have an obituary of Kay Curry of Carbury, an obituary for Bernice Eleanor Dooley Bates from the town of, she worked at the Bank of Commerce. Hugs for the holiday seniors, a thank you, employment assistance. We have numerous for sales, personals, some thank yous, and help wanted ads all over the place. Not getting read this week are Do Not Be Afraid, Little Flock. Survey reveals New Year's resolutions for homebuyers and the tech industry's disinformation campaign. So that is what you're not getting read to this week. And we're going to close that out at 10 after 2 on Thursday, January the 14th, 2021. Thanks for being part of our Neepawa Banner Press Reads the News.